everybody, and welcome to this video in which we're just going to be going a little bit further with a scatter graph with matplotlib. So what we want to do in this, we want to plot out some more data onto our scatter graph. We want to know what each data point actually is referring to. We're going to go back to the dummy data first of all. So it's going to be hours revised, and we're going to use a simple Python list, 1, 2, so on. 3, 4, helps if you can count right, 6, 7, and then we're going to have test result, and that's going to be percentages, and we're going to go for that strong positive correlation. I don't know, 25%, 32%, okay, 41%, 56%, 72, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 72%, 85%, and 98% like that. And this time we're also going to put the names of the children involved, right? So we're going to add some more data here to what we're doing with our scatter graph. So down here, Tim, and then Dave, and then Eddie, and then Frank, and then Lisa, and then Mary, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then okay, Chloe. Okay, they're revising 7 hours and doing really, really well because of it, because of all the hard work she is putting in. Unlike Tim down there, who's only revised 1 hour and just completely failed and not succeeded at all. Never mind, sorry Tim. All right, so that's the date. Let's just save that, and now create the scatter plots. So, these are the comments, by the way, just to help us see what we're doing. So as we're starting to code a little bit more, we'd like to put comments in so we kind of know what each part of our program is doing, and other coders, other developers also know. So this is where we're going to use plot, and we're going to go into the scatter method, and it's going to be, the X is going to be hours revised, and then our Y is going to be the test results. And notice I'm not putting the names in here, this is just the X, Y. That's going to come in here, but first of all, let's just add the axes as well. So X label, and that's hours revised, and then we're going to do the Y label, and that's going to be test score percentage, right, of questions correct, and we give it a title as well. The title method is going to be our test scores percent correct by hours revised, something like that. Okay, so that's just the title of it, and then we're going to show the scatter graph, so that's going to be the final thing. Remember the show method, like I say. So that's kind of what we saw before. We haven't actually put the names on yet, but let's just kind of see that, just to kind of review what it looks like. And we get our strong positive correlation, right? Okay, fine. But what we want to do now is put the names on so we can see who this is and who this is and kind of how they're each doing, right? So this is why we've got the names data here. Notice how it all connects, and if you remember on a list, it's in order, and Python indexes from 0. So hours revised 0 is actually 1, and then test result 0 is 25, and names indexed to 0 is Tim, and then it goes 0, then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to use for loop here, and if you don't know about for loops, go check them out in the technique cards and the videos, for loops and all of that good stuff. So we're going to use for I is going to be a counter variable, which is standard, right? So for I in what? Well, in range of the length of, I guess, names. Doesn't really matter because they're all the same length, of course. They have to be full colon, come into the for block to iterate over it. What are we going to do? We're going to use plot.text, and this is our new method that we're going to use to plot text onto the data points. How are we going to do this? We're going to say, okay, what's the X data? Well, that's hours revised. Right, so we can do that, and we're going to index it to I right there. Then we're going to comma, and we're going to put in our Y data, which is what test result, index to, you got it, I, right? Because if that's on 0, we want that on 0. If that's on 1, we want that on 1 to keep everything as it needs to be. And then we're going to put the actual data on. So this is kind of letting it know where. This is letting Python know where to put the data, and then we're going to say what the data actually is. And it's got to be the names, right? But that's going to be obviously indexed to I as well. Think about it. For this data point here, 125, we want it to be Tim. We certainly don't want it to be Chloe, because Chloe would get all upset, right? So we're going to keep it in order by using I, which is the counter variable there, the index variable there. Okay, like that. And that should now show us the name for each data point, and the name will be pulled from this list here. Okay, and it will be in order because it's iterating through order 0, and then it comes around 1, and then it comes around 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and that's the for loop. Okay, let's see if that is now as we expect it to be. And yeah, looks good to me. Tim is down there, and Chloe's up there, and everybody in between. So now we've got that. One thing is, it looks a bit weird having it bang on the center of it. You might want to raise it slightly to make it easier to read. That's a personal preference, I guess. In that case, you can put here on this is X, remember, this is Y. So we're just going to raise Y, and we can do it by plus, let's say 0.5, and that will just raise it up slightly when we come to look at it. It's just lifted it slightly, it's just lifted it slightly above the center of the point. Of course, you can experiment. I'm not going to waste your life experimenting with higher numbers or whatever. You can experiment with that in your own time. Cool, okay. So that's how we do that. And that can be useful with real-world data as well. If you remember, we had that question about the countries from the wealth.csv. So if we get rid of that, I don't know. Yeah, I copied this earlier because I didn't want to waste your life showing you all of the code again. We've already done this in the previous video. I'm now using the data from the wealth.csv, and we kind of want to plot out here. Down here, we've got the for I in range again, length of country. What's country? Country is the country name, or we can have the continent name. I also did continent here, of course. In fact, let's do continent first, just so we can see if there's any connections with continents and where they are. Continent, like that, index to I. And I did change it slightly, as you will see, in the name of the continents, because North America, South America are quite long, so I've shortened them to like NA for North America, SA for South America, I think AFR for Africa, and so on and so forth. So that looks like it should be working, so let's do that. Okay, we come back to this one, you'll have seen it in the previous video. And yeah, Europe. So it's not all mixed in, it's not all Africa, Asia, it's European nations are kind of collecting in this corner. And if you remember, that is showing these nations are the richest, and they're also the most equal in distribution of their wealth, right? Meanwhile, over here, these really unequal countries seem to be African and South American. Latin American and African countries are really unequal. Meanwhile, Asian countries are down in this part. You got some North American ones here. So North American countries, remember, kind of Central America as well, the Caribbean nations as well. This one's really interesting. It's a very rich country. It's as rich, you know, if not more rich than most European countries. But look at it, the inequality. If it were to fit like a line of best fit, which would kind of be showing a slight negative correlation, really it would be down here by the line, but it's not. It's really far away from it. It's what we call an anomaly, something that doesn't quite fit that standard pattern of the world. So it's a North American country, which is really quite rich, but also really quite unequal in wealth distribution. Kind of its inequality is similar to South American countries, Latin American countries actually, more than the European nations. Meanwhile, there's another, if you look at a sneaky North American country there, which fits the pattern much more nicely, right, so to speak. It fits that line of best fit a lot more cleanly. As it's getting richer, it's getting more equal, kind of like the European nations there. And then we've got this really unequal country, which is clearly an African country, and we can, okay, so let's find out. Let's mystery revealed kind of thing. Really simple now. All we've got to do is change that to country, because up here I've made a new a new series, a new Panda series from that data frame based on the country data, and the country data is of course the name of the country specifically. So we've got all the country names there in that series, and then we're just going to plot it out here. So not continent, but country indeed. So we'll do that. And now we can see finally kind of what's going on. And I think you know the answer to it already. You can see it there, yeah. That's the USA, United States of America, which really doesn't fit the pattern. Meanwhile, Canada does fit the pattern a lot more. And then the most unequal country here is, sadly, for the people living there, South Africa. Really, really unequal. And then down here, we've got some countries like Slovakia, Czech Republic, Belarus, which are really, really equal. Down here, look at these countries: Norway, Iceland, Netherlands, Denmark, Sweden, Finland. What is it about those countries, why they're so rich and so equal as well? So, I mean, I'll let you explore all of this and think about this. I'm not going to go into it now. That's for you to work on in your projects. And of course, do it with different things. Get some data sets about threatened species of animal and see what's happening in the world. Or, I don't know, wages, salaries by gender, male, female, or by age, or by whatever it may be. So whatever you're passionate about, now you've got the tools with pandas and matplotlib. You've got the tools now to do some really serious data analysis and some fun projects. And then, of course, use your skills to show that off in presentations, PowerPoints, or even create websites using pictures from the graphs that you've generated. Okay, I'm going to leave the video there. Hope it was of use and hope it's of interest. Until next time, take care.